Rapper Kodak Black is facing legal troubles once more. The music artist, whose real name is Bill Capri, was arrested in Broward County this morning.
Kodak Black just stepped out of Orange County Jail, posting bond in a serious controlled substance case. And from the moment he hit the outside, it was clear this situation was weighing heavy on him. But this isn't just gossip or random online chatter. Bill Capri, better known to the world as Kodak Black, is 28 now, with a long history wrapped up in legal trouble. On May 7, 2026, he faced an Orlando courtroom, pleaded not guilty, demanded a jury trial, and sat through his attorney pushing back against the charges in real time. The judge set his bond at $75,000, Kodak paid up, and now he's back out in the public eye. But here's the thing, this story, it's way bigger than just a mugshot or bold headlines. Behind it all lies years of pressure, a defense team aggressively questioning the strength of the prosecution's case, and a timeline packed full of confusing and unexpected developments. Just weeks before Kodak's recent arrest, the mother of one of his children was also arrested in a separate investigation tied to illegal substances. On top of that, investigators reportedly linked a pink bag found in the case to Kodak's Instagram, where a stash of $37,000 in cash was also discovered. Money Kodak tried to claim, but he stayed silent about some of the other items connected to the investigation. So let's dig in and break this down, because every detail seems to tell a different story, contradictions popping up left and right. By the end of this, you'll see why Kodak's legal team was already preparing paperwork to fight the charges before even stepping into the courtroom. And while some think the prosecution faces an uphill battle, one thing's for sure, the whole situation is spiraling quickly. To really grasp how we got here, we need to rewind well before late 2025. Kodak Black's history with the Florida legal system didn't just appear overnight. It's been building for years, stretching back to his beginnings in Pompano Beach.
To get to some breaking news here, this is just into Wesh 2 News. Rapper Kodak Black has been booked into the Orange County Jail here in Central Florida. His real name is Bill Capri. The booking records show the 28-year-old was taken into custody yesterday for a drug trafficking charge.
Born Bill Capri on June 11, 1997, Kodak grew up in Golden Acres, a tough neighborhood in South Florida, where the fight to survive was a constant part of everyday life. Kodak Black's music wasn't just about flashy fame or catchy hooks. It was rooted deeply in the world he grew up in. His lyrics painted a raw picture of life around him, reflecting real struggles rather than just chasing attention. But even as his career skyrocketed, the shadow of legal trouble seemed to follow him from a young age, creating a constant push and pull between the spotlight and the courtroom. Despite all the hurdles, Kodak managed to build an impressive legacy. His track Tunnel Vision broke into the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 6. Collaborations like Zezzy's with Travis Scott and Offset climbed even higher, reaching number 2. And then there was Super Gremlin, one of the biggest hits of 2022, earning its spot at number 3 on the charts. Over the years, he's moved more than 30 million singles and consistently landed projects on the Billboard 200. What's truly jaw-dropping is how quickly things can change for him. Just 1 month before his most recent legal troubles, Kodak took the stage at the 2026 April Fool's Comedy Jam at the Barclays Center in New York City, playing to a packed crowd on April 4th, 2026. 1 minute, he's commanding a live audience, and the next, he's back in court, facing serious charges. This never-ending cycle of massive success, followed by legal challenges, has become a defining part of Kodak Black's story. His complex history is especially important to understand when you consider someone facing court with 12 prior felony convictions, standing before a judge asking for a lower bond. That background paints a fuller picture. The legal drama takes a wilder turn, starting in November 2019, when Kodak pleaded guilty to giving false information on federal forms related to buying firearms. The court handed down a tough sentence, 46 months in federal prison. It was a massive blow at the time. However, in a surprising twist, on January 20th, 2021, his sentence was officially shortened. Kodak served about half of the original term before being released.
Bradford Cohen on behalf of Bill Capri, Judge.
All right, good afternoon, sir. If you can just tell me your name and your date of birth.
Yeah, Capri, so
All right, date of birth.
June 11, 1997.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Capri, you are here for your initial appearance. You were arrested pursuant to an arrest warrant, so probable cause was previously determined by Judge Murphy. We are here for purposes of today for determining your bond.
Triggering a wave of reactions across social media and beyond. But the legal issues didn't stop there. Fast forward to July 2022, when the Florida Highway Patrol pulled him over in Fort Lauderdale during a routine traffic stop. Police discovered prescription, medications, and nearly $75,000 in cash inside the vehicle. What happened next? That's where the story continues. Kodak was also cited for driving with expired vehicle documents, which only added fuel to the fire. This spiraled into serious legal issues involving controlled substances and medication paperwork. After posting bond, he was required to undergo regular drug testing as part of his release. But 2023 brought even more challenges. He reportedly missed some of these tests and later tested positive for banned substances, leading to a court order for a 30-day rehabilitation program. Then, in December 2023, police found him asleep behind the wheel with a powdery substance nearby, sparking more accusations related to illegal substances and evidence handling. However, lab tests later revealed that the powder matched medication from a valid prescription, resulting in one of the major charges being dropped. Still, many observers saw this as part of a larger pattern. Throughout all these legal battles, Kodak has consistently fought back with the help of his experienced attorney, Bradford Cohen. Over time, they've successfully pushed to reduce, dismiss, or resolve multiple accusations in court. Cohen clearly knows the game inside and out, even telling the judge during a hearing, "I've handled cases 10 times like this, and I've won." That kind of confidence comes from deep familiarity with his client's history in the courtroom, and that details become even more crucial when you dive into what happened at the May 7th hearing. But the real turning point actually dates back several months earlier, marking the beginning of this intense saga. The current first-degree felony case, tied to alleged MDMA distribution, goes all the way back to Thanksgiving week, November 24th, 2025, in Orlando. The location itself sparked a wildfire of online reactions. Law enforcement responded near Children's Safety Village, a well-known nonprofit center on Fairville Road, dedicated to teaching kids about personal safety. Just the thought of such a place being involved stirred major buzz on social media. But the actual police report reveals a much more detailed story. Orlando police received an urgent 911 call about possible gunfire was reported near the facility, and police rushed to the scene, ready for a potentially dangerous situation. But when they arrived, the scene was surprisingly calm. Instead of signs of chaos or violence, officers found a group of people standing casually around two luxury SUVs, a BMW and a Lamborghini, both flashy high-end rides. No panic, just a crowd gathered near these expensive cars. Then things took a sharp turn. Detectives caught a strong scent of freshly used cannabis coming from the Lamborghini. That was just the beginning. They also spotted a white powdery substance on a $100 bill inside the vehicle. This discovery instantly raised red flags and pushed the investigation into high gear. Here's why this was serious. Under Florida law, having more than 10 grams of MDMA carries major consequences. A first-degree felony with potential prison time and hefty fines. This wasn't a small matter, and as news spread, the case exploded online, sparking intense debates. What really set this case apart was one detail that piqued everyone's curiosity: the pink bag found in the trunk of the BMW. Reports say it looked exactly like a bag rapper Kodak Black had posted on his Instagram before. It wasn't just a vague resemblance. Investigators compared photos side by side and pointed out matching features, the exact style of the bag, and even a distinctive lighter seen in the pictures. The detectives went as far as combing through Kodak's social media posts to gather evidence for the investigation. This connection, it became one of the hottest talking points on the internet surrounding the case. Adding to the drama, a prescription cough syrup bottle was discovered inside that bag. Kodak's lawyer explained that it wasn't surprising to find his fingerprints on it, since the bottle supposedly belonged to him legally, but the prosecution saw it as another link tying Kodak directly to the items found during the search. The defense pushed back hard, basically saying, yes, the fingerprints may be there, but that alone doesn't mean anything. The battle over the evidence was just getting started. Inside the bag, there was a prescription bottle, but having that alone doesn't automatically mean everything inside belonged to him. This little detail has now become a huge point of contention in the courtroom. Reportedly, when officers arrived, they asked everyone at the scene if the bag or any of its contents were theirs. Every person, including Kodak Black himself, denied ownership. He not only said the bag wasn't his, but also refused to claim any connection to the other items found inside. But here's where things get really interesting, and what's got everyone talking non-stop online. Once the cops mentioned there was cash inside the bag, Kodak allegedly made multiple attempts to recover $37,000, claiming the money was tied to his business. Investigators say he wanted that cash back, even while still denying the bag was his. Now prosecutors are zeroing in on one big question. How can someone claim the cash is theirs, but say the bag it came in isn't? That contradiction could become a defining moment as the case moves deeper into the legal battle. Fast forward to May 6th, 2026. By then, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement had already wrapped up their lab tests on the substance found, which reportedly came back April 17th. The results identified the material as MDMA, prompting authorities to push ahead with an arrest warrant. Kodak Black's lawyer, Bradford Cohen, paints a very different picture for what happened next. According to Cohen, there was no surprise arrest. Kodak voluntarily flew back from California and turned himself in at the Orange County Sheriff's Office on May 6th. This detail is important because the defense uses it to show Kodak cooperated rather than dodged the law. Once Kodak surrendered, he was booked into Orange County Jail. Court records show he was charged with trafficking MDMA, involving a quantity between 10 and 200 grams, a charge considered a first-degree felony under Florida law. Initially, he was held without bond, spending the night behind bars while waiting for his hearing, and then the next chapter began. May 7th arrived, and the atmosphere inside the courtroom grew thick with tension. Kodak's defense team stepped up first, making their case. They highlighted that Kodak had willingly come back from California to face the charges, framing this as a clear act of good faith. They also noted that Kodak wasn't actually found inside either SUV during the search, that the vehicles weren't registered to him, and that police hadn't revealed any fingerprint evidence tying him directly to the alleged MDMA. Then came a moment that caught everyone's attention. Kodak's lawyer openly questioned the strength of the case right in front of the judge, saying something along the lines of, "I know probable cause was already established, so I won't argue that point now, even though it really feels weak to me." That line sent ripples through the courtroom and beyond. It was essentially the defense signaling, "We think the basis for this case is shaky, but we're choosing our battles wisely." Instead of diving headfirst into that argument during the hearing, the defense focused on lowering Kodak's bond. They asked for a $10,000 bond, pointing out that Kodak voluntarily returned and cooperated fully by turning himself in, showing he wasn't trying to run from the process. Then the prosecution pushed back, and that's when the hearing heated up. They requested a bond higher than the usual $50,000, basing their case on Kodak's fame, his history of travel, and the risk that he might leave town while the case was ongoing. Prosecutors pointed out that Kodak, a successful rapper and Haitian American, had just come from California and didn't have deep roots in Orlando. They also wanted strict conditions on his passport and travel to keep him in the area. But Kodak's lawyer fired back immediately, shutting down those concerns. Reportedly, he said, "Yes, he's a proud Haitian American, but he's also an American citizen with a U.S. passport, and he has no plans to leave the country." The courtroom actually erupted in laughter after that back and forth, showing just how tense and strangely light things got for a moment. Kodak's defense team pushed back hard against the idea that his music career should influence the bond. His lawyer made a solid point. Just because he's a rapper doesn't mean his bond needs to be higher. After hearing both sides, the judge landed on a $75,000 bond. It wasn't as low as the defense wanted, but it was also a win compared to what the prosecution asked for. The judge made it crystal clear that Kodak's career had zero impact on the bond decision. Instead, the main focus? His complicated legal history. 12 prior felony convictions to be exact. The judge reviewed all of Kodak Black's past records carefully. along with those felony charges, misdemeanor convictions, and even a previous failure to appear in court, all weighed heavily on the final decision. Those weren't small details, they shaped the entire outcome. On top of that, Kodak was told he couldn't reach out to his co-defendants or any of the possible witnesses tied to the case. But the defense pushed back again, explaining that some of those folks were actually family members or part of his security team. After more discussion, the judge agreed to let Kodak have limited contact with those specific people. Then came the big moves. Kodak officially pleaded not guilty, requested a jury trial, and even waived his right to show up in person for his next arraignment. Once that $75,000 bond was posted, he was free and walked out of jail. But here's where things got interesting. Before Kodak was even out, his lawyer Bradford Cohen was already making waves. Cohen told reporters he was drafting a major motion to challenge the entire case, while literally on a train headed to the courthouse. From the jump, the defense was anything but quiet, taking an aggressive stance and making it clear they weren't going to back down. The legal case seemed shaky from the start. TMZ reported that Kodak Black's lawyer expressed confidence, saying they were gearing up for yet another successful outcome, one for a case that arguably should never have been brought forward. That kind of bold statement caught people's attention instantly. After all, Cohen has been in Kodak's corner through several major legal battles in the past. Fans of the rapper believe this proven track record gives the defense a serious edge going into this showdown. Then, on April 14th, 2026, just a few weeks before Kodak's own arrest, a whole new story broke, this time involving someone close to him. Fort Lauderdale police had been keeping an eye on a black Tesla tied to his inner circle. Earlier that month, the vehicle reportedly dodged a traffic stop attempt. When officers spotted the Tesla again, on April 14th, they tried once more to pull it over. "Stop!" they commanded, but the driver hit the gas, sparking a tense chase through city streets. Eventually, the driver abandoned the car and tried to run away on foot. Authorities caught up to her near Dillard High School on Northwest 25th Way and took her into custody. She was identified as Jamea Katera Broomfield, 28 years old, the mother of Kodak Black's son, King Khaled, and also a singer-songwriter. According to reports, Broomfield was accused of several charges: possession of illegal substances, resisting the officer peacefully without violence, driving with a suspended license, and violating bail terms from a previous grand theft case. Police also say they found a bag with illegal substances in the car, along with roughly $1,010 in cash. Sources claim Broomfield admitted to picking up the substances for her boyfriend. Authorities confirmed she stayed in custody due to an additional hold linked to Palm Beach County. As news of her arrest spread online, Kodak Black quickly took to Instagram. He shared screenshots showing he had sent Broomfield over $45,000, seemingly to prove he was still supporting his child and family financially, no matter where their relationship stood. Alongside that, he posted a heartfelt, lengthy message addressing everything that was going on. All right, buckle up. This story just keeps twisting and turning. So, Kodak Black recently shared a screenshot showing some extra money he sent to his baby mama. Why? Because no matter what's going on between them, he's always stepping up financially, setting an example as a responsible father, not just in intimate moments, but in real life. He even tweeted a powerful line that caught fire online. "Even when my baby mamas hate me real bad, I still step." That message sparked a ton of conversation. Kodak was making it clear, no matter how messy the personal drama gets, he stays committed to supporting his family. But here's where things get wild. Just 3 weeks after standing up for the mother of his child online, Kodak found himself arrested in a completely different case. The internet instantly started piecing this together because the timing was just too close to be a coincidence. Reports say his baby mama was under investigation for something serious tied to methamphetamine trafficking. Kodak, on the other hand, got hit with allegations connected to MDMA. Two separate investigations, totally different stories, but both running through the same legal system that's been tracking Kodak's career for years now, and the drama is far from over. Everyone online is now laser focused on how Kodak's defense is planning to fight back against the charges. The prosecutors don't have a smoking gun. They're leaning heavily on circumstantial evidence. They pointed to a pink bag linked to Kodak through social media posts, some cash he supposedly tried to get back, a fingerprint on a prescription bottle inside that bag, and his denied connection to the cash found. But here's the defense's angle. None of these details directly prove that Kodak owned the drugs found inside. His lawyer reportedly said fingerprint tests didn't place Kodak's prints on the actual MDMA. Plus, they argue the SUVs involved weren't even registered to him, and Kodak wasn't even in the vehicles at the time. So, this one is heating up. Kodak's legal team is digging in, and everyone's watching closely to see how this legal battle unfolds. Stay tuned. As the investigation unfolds, the defense is gearing up to question the timeline of the lab results. Bradford Cohen pointed out that the FDLE didn't finalize the substance testing until April 17th, almost 5 months after the initial incident back on November 24th. This big delay is shaping up to be a key battleground as the case moves forward. Why did it take so long for authorities to file the arrest warrant? That's exactly the question Kodak Black's legal team is expected to press hard. The defense might argue that investigators were using that time to build a stronger case. But even then, the evidence hasn't painted a complete picture yet. So far, what prosecutors have publicly shared includes a pink bag tied to Kodak through social media posts, cash he apparently tried to recover, a fingerprint on a prescription bottle linked to him, and confirmation he was at the scene during the search. But here's the catch. Kodak's lawyers highlight a crucial gap. There's no publicly confirmed DNA or fingerprint evidence that directly connects him to the controlled substance itself. That missing link could turn into the biggest point of contention when the courtroom showdown begins in earnest. Bradford Cohen looks ready to tear apart every weakness in the prosecution's case, and many expect the legal battle to escalate quickly. Just to be clear, posting that $75,000 bond doesn't close the chapter for Kodak Black. It only means he's out of custody while the case continues to unfold. The stakes, extremely high. Under Florida law, possession of MDMA between 10 and 200 grams can lead to a first-degree felony charge, carrying mandatory prison time and hefty fines if convicted. So, as this legal drama heats up, the question looms: how will the evidence stack up under the pressure of the courtroom spotlight? We'll be watching every move. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more updates, share this video with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your support means everything.